Hey guys, what's up? Serena here. So today's video, we are going to do a Q&A about my shed. Now there was some information that I didn't share in the last video or some questions that people had. So I thought today we would cover that in this video. If you've been following along, I am building this huge 16 by 26 shed. Well, I say I'm building, I'm paying for it. But there's some things that I'm going to be doing in this shed. I'm going to be doing all of the interior finishing, I think. So I'm going to talk to you about that today so you get a good idea of what this project really entails, because there's only so much that I can share in one video. So today we're going to walk through all the questions that you asked me in the comments section from the previous two videos, and I will share with you some updates that are very exciting in regards to doing the electrical work. So the shed I ordered from a company called Tough Shed. And if you have been to Home Depot, you will see they have these sheds over in their parking lot. The only thing is that you can only get a certain size from Home Depot. I want to say it's like 10 by 12 is the biggest that you can get. But if you go directly to Tough Shed, you can order and customize as big as you want, or windows and all kinds of things that you can't do if you just order it straight from Home Depot. February is when I really wanted to do this. And the reason why is because you see what it's like in my garage. It's crazy. Like, it's so packed full of stuff that all I have are like two walkways from the front of the garage to the back. So imagine trying to build a closet organizer in that space. It was very, very difficult, especially dealing with like big sheets of plywood. It was almost impossible. But somehow I did it. So back during February, I decided that I was going to get a shed. Now the question was, am I going to get a shed for all the stuff in the garage and all the lawnmowers and put that back here, or am I going to leave all that stuff in the garage and give me a space in the backyard? You know what the answer was, right? So I customized this thing with all the bells and whistles that I could so that I could get exactly what I wanted, and I wouldn't have to be lamenting about, oh, I should have gotten skylights, or I should have gotten an extra window back here on the wall. So I customized it to be what I wanted it to be. And then I was not sure if I wanted to do concrete or just do a gravel base. So what I did was I called up the county inspector office, the permitting office, and I said, hey, look, I'm trying to get a shed, but I really need to know what kind of foundation do I need? Do I need to get concrete, or can I just do a gravel gravel base, which is a lot less expensive? And so what I had been told that at least in my county, this depends on your permitting, but what I had been told is that if you are planning to use a shed at any point in the future for inhabitable space, you have to have a concrete pad. Let me pay for the concrete, and then that way there's no questions about it. I'm doing the right thing. So for the concrete was actually $12,700. And originally the guy had quoted me $11,200. But that time point between March, when I got his quote, to when he actually came to do it, materials had changed, and so the quote actually went up by the time he came to do the work. And if you remember in the last video, the guy was saying, hey, we never build concrete completely flat, because if we do, then water couldn't pool in the middle. Like, you want that gradual slope towards the corners, and you build it up a little in the middle. When the builders came, they could not get, well, I couldn't say they couldn't. They had to maneuver the floor joist system in order to get that to be completely even, which is why you see the gap in the middle. So here's the update on that. So many of you were wondering, what are you going to do to cover the gap? Are you going to put like a weather seal? Are you going to caulk it? Like, what are you going to do? So the inspector came to do the final inspection, but he said window and siding companies, this is something that they can do. They have the tools to do it, and it's this metal encasing that they can do all around the exterior, around the bottom. So that will seal any gaps. They'll caulk around the coil stock, and it'll be completely sealed from insects, because I can imagine what could be getting underneath here. So another question people were asking me is, how much did this shed actually cost? So here's the short answer, and then I'm going to tell you the long answer. So the short answer was, this shed cost me $20,400. I know, you're like, Serena, that's expensive. It is expensive, but let me tell you how it wasn't expensive. And I'll tell you the long version. So back in March when I ordered this shed, the prices hadn't even gone up. right? Like the prices were about to go up. Nobody knew that things were about to take a price increase. So I had ordered the shed like the middle of March, and there were some upgrades that I later wanted to make, which I did. But at that time, I think it was gonna cost me about $18,000. So half of that I had to pay, no, maybe it was like $17,000. So half of that I had to pay up front. So once I put the deposit down, right after that, there was a price increase. Remember all the materials, people were having a hard time getting materials, everything was going through the roof. And so I was able to lock in my price before it started going up. So then I ended up paying for some additionals that I didn't plan on originally. So like these trusses, you'll notice that they're a little bit vaulted here. I've got a little bit more interior height in the middle. I wanted that because I knew that I was going to be working with sheets of plywood. And even though the ceiling would still be, I think maybe the right up here to the double top plate, I want to say it's like 8 feet, but I wanted to make sure that whatever drywall that I brought in here was not going to scrape the ceiling. So I paid $1,000 extra for the scissor truss, and those, give me a little bit more interior height. So anyway, when you add everything up, it came to $20,400. But remember, back before I actually had ordered this, when I was doing my research, I was talking to contractors. I had three contractors come in and give me prices for how much it would cost to build this thing from scratch. I'm not kidding you. I think I told you this before, that one guy told me it was gonna cost like $82,000. I was like, excuse me? Another guy, he wouldn't really give me a quote. He just said, well, it's gonna cost like $200 and some per square foot. And I'm like, okay, that's too expensive. And then the other guy, he gave me a quote and it was $100,000. So when you take the cost of the building, the cost of the shed, all the upgrades that I did, and when you add in the concrete, it came to $33,000. Now, you're probably still saying, Serena, that's still a lot of money. But I'll tell you, back last year, so when the pandemic had hit, things were crazy, right? Everybody was in their house, nobody could get out to do anything. And the Home Depot had reached out to me and said, hey, Serena, we can't do these in-person Home Depot kids workshops anymore. We want to hire you and your kids to do Home Depot kids workshops from home. We'll send you the wooden kit. We want you to make a like a cardboard version and film it. And then we're gonna put it on our YouTube channel, and we want you to do like 7 videos. We'll do 2 takes, just so we have a variation. No. Listen, don't make any fart noises or anything that's embarrassing, okay? No. Today we're back with another Home Depot Kids Workshop video, and we're gonna be making lawn mowers. But if you can't get your hands on one of these kits, we're gonna have it for you in cardboard, blah, 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 okay. So, and that's why you didn't see me on my channel as much, because I was creating content for the Home Depot. But here's the thing, they love my content so much that they came back like twice more and they said, hey, can you do 3 more videos? And then they came back again, can you do another 3 videos? And let me tell you, Home Depot pays pretty well. So because I know how to do videos and they liked what I did on camera, and let me tell you, these little cardboard creations that we did, so cute. I'm gonna leave links down below if you wanna see them. But it's not anything that you have seen on my channel for the most part, because I don't do them for my channel. I do them for Home Depot's channel. So anyway, they had paid me so well over the last year, I thought, why don't I take some of that money and invest it into a workspace where I could actually film, and I can move around, I can build, I can like paint furniture, I can do all these things, and I don't have to fight with the lawnmowers and the weed whackers in the garage. Okay, so now that everything is completed, the next thing is to do electrical. And this is where I've been struggling this week. And if you listen to my podcast, I talked about it in this week's podcast episode about how I need to get electrical, but oh my gosh, guys, I got 1 quote so far, and this guy actually quoted me $8,500 to do electrical. The crazy thing is that the first quote that he gave me was $4,200, and it didn't include switches. It just included basically trenching from the house to here. It's about 55 feet, and doing a couple of outlets. And you know, I have to get a mini, well, I'll tell you about that in just a moment. But basically it didn't include everything. It didn't even have lighting in that quote. And here's the thing. So some of you know that I'm in a carpentry program. In fact, I literally just finished all of my classes. That's a whole other story. But last year during COVID, I was taking a residential wiring class. Like, I love electrical. It's so much fun. It's like a puzzle. It's very weird. It's like a puzzle. You have to figure out how to get the power to here, and you connect it all up. I love it. It was fun. And so in the class, we were actually wiring, well, it was just framed. It wasn't a house. It was inside the lab, down the hallway from the class. And we were wiring this, like, I call it a tiny home, but it was just a framed 2-level structure. And it had like a bathroom, what would be a bathroom, a kitchen, and very small, you know, like just really tiny. Our assignment was that we had to break into teams and we had to run the conductors through the entire building, and then we were going to connect them all and then put them in the service panel. Well, then guess what? COVID hit. And everything that we had been doing, it just came to a halt. So here's the thing, here's what's amazing. You have an electrical wiring instructor. So when I reached out to him, I asked him if he still had clients, if he still did, you know, his business, and he said he does. And he said, you know, it would actually not be that hard for you to do with a little bit of professional hand-holding. He said, where you live is very close, like I come through where you live on my way to class every Tuesday to Thursday. Why don't I come over and get you started on the right track, and then as needed, I'll come by and make sure that you were on the right track with this wiring project. I was like, oh my gosh. It was like freaking Christmas. I couldn't believe it. Like, I was so excited because, you know, here at Thrift Diving, the goal is how can we do as much as we can on our own. Like, technically, I could have built this building. I could have. I understand framing. I'm a carpentry student. Nothing about this is shocking to me. Like, I know how to do this, but I needed it to be done quickly. And if I had done it myself, it would have taken me a long time. That's why I had it built, and I paid for that expense to get it built, so it was here. But now that I've got a master electrician who is willing to come over as needed and help me figure out what comes first, second, third, I am stoked. I am so freaking excited. I had a man come over from a company to do a quote for insulation. I'm still waiting on that because I do want to find out how much the professionals cost versus what it will be for me to do it. And yeah, so anyway, I can't remember what he said the R value has to be for here, but he said this looks to be a pretty tight building. But, you know, I think even if I were to just do the fiberglass, the pink fiberglass, I can do that. And I can do that myself. I don't feel, you know, I mean, I've worked with insulation before, so it's not, you know, anything scary. And then the drywall, I can do that myself as well, and I feel pretty confident in being able to do that. But here's the other thing too. So, you know, in my carpentry program, I love my teacher. He is so cool. So Mr. McNally agreed to come over and help me just to make sure that I'm doing things right with the drywall. And he said, you know, he'll come by. I said, what kind of beer do you like? What kind of beer do you like? And he told me, so I'm going to have a beer with him and he can come over and help me get on schedule here. So you are probably wondering how I'm going to finish this shed. People were asking me, what are you going to do on the inside? And this part that you see here, this is going to have a pegboard. Now the pegboard is lying over here on the floor. They didn't install that, but this is where it's going to be. It's going to be this entire like wall. And this is where I'm going to be doing my videos. So in the future, you will see my tools hanging from this wall. Hopefully it'll be nice and pretty. I'll probably have a workbench here. And when I'm doing my videos, this is where I'll be. And that was my goal, is to have a place to film, because there's a lot of content that I want to do. Like, I am putting together a power tools course, which you may have already heard about. If you haven't, go down below. There's a link. Let me know if you're interested. But I'm ready to start filming those videos for that course, and I have nowhere to film inside. I definitely can't do it in the garage. So now I'll be able to film here. I've got this full-length 16-foot workbench. I love this. Another option that I upgraded with this shed was to get a smaller workbench underneath here. This is, I believe, 12 inches deep, and it's the full length, 16 foot. And the reason why is because when I'm working in my garage, it's so annoying to have 10 million batteries, and I never know like which one is charged and which one's not charged, and they just sort of take up a lot of space. So I thought this would be kind of cool because then I could put my batteries down here. And I think for electrical wiring, I'll probably put maybe one receptacle, one outlet down here, and then I'll probably just have some, what do you call them? Surge protectors. Couldn't think of the word. Surge protectors. You know, I think they've got other ones too. This was the idea that one of the electricians had given to me that had come for a quote. I think he said there's ones that are like 3 or 4 feet. I don't know, I've never used those before other than just a surge protector. But he said it was easier. It was easier, it was less expensive, and that will satisfy, I think, all my power needs for here. So this really is storage. And then I like that this is storage underneath here. It's pretty sturdy. I mean, you know, like I've put my big butt up here. Oh gosh. Wait, my phone is under there. Ah! I don't want to break my phone. But yes, see, I did it actually pretty easily. But it's pretty tall, like it's a tall workbench. So I'll probably have some stools over here. So when I want to work at the workbench, or if I have the kids helping me do a project, I'll have them at the workbench. And I want to make sure that the windows are not going to let in a ton of cold air. So, also I will have to caulk around the windows and, you know, drywall around them and all that good stuff. So the next question that people wanted to know is, why do I have a door over there? So when I first designed this shed, I decided to do a French door here on the front, and I wanted something that was going to be wide so that if I need to bring in something big, I don't have to struggle to get it through. But when I was designing this, my carpentry teacher said, you should definitely have 2 ways in and 2 ways out. And that's why I put this door here. Somebody had asked me, well, why did you put this door all the way over here in this corner when it's furthest from the house? Like, why did you do that? Well, the reason why is because, you know, over on that side, that's the workbench. And then over here, this is going to be where my desk is. So I definitely don't want to put a door where my desk is going to be. And also, by having a door here, it's actually the closest to the back. Now, I'll show you this in a moment, but in the back here, you can see there's a lot of space behind the shed. And it's kind of private too, especially if we get a fence here that separates the neighbors. But it's very private in the back, and this door is the closest to the back. But I like the idea of having one way in the front, and then I've got a side way in. And this was something that I added after the fact. But I'm glad that I did, because I think it actually is going to work, considering that I'm going to use the back. Now, if you remember, when I had done the permitting for this, I actually thought that it had to be 12 feet from the neighbors, from the perimeter, but that's not true. It actually had to be 15 feet. So because my building is a little catty corner, I needed to make sure that I was 15 feet from this fence to the edge of this building. And it left a lot of space back here that I really can do anything. And so I'm thinking what would be nice, well, I'll tell you in just a moment what's going to be back here, but I think it would be nice to clear out some of this and to actually have like a nice private seating area back here that really nobody can see. We do have to get another fence here, but even so, there's not any neighbors that can actually see you there. So I kind of like this. It's very private. Another question people had asked is, how are you going to heat and cool your shed? So I'm actually going to get a mini split, which is a ductless unit that's going to put out air conditioning and heat, but it's going to be installed up high close to the ceiling, and then it's going to have some wires and some condensation lines and all that stuff coming to the unit that's here in the back. But yeah, this is where it's going to be sitting, and the unit will be inside right here, and that will keep it cool in the summer and warm in the winter. And like I mentioned, having the door here on the side is really nice, because if we are hanging out back, we can easily get inside the shed. Someone actually asked me why I built my shed in my front yard, but you can clearly see that it's in my backyard. Over here is the house, and remember, I've got the fire pit here, and then the shed is actually at a catty corner to the house. And the reason why is because my backyard, it isn't square, it actually comes sort of to a point. So sort of like a triangle. And then with some really pretty landscaping and some plants, then it could be kind of blended in and look like it's nestled back there. But remember, I had to have it 15 feet from the side, and I think from the back it may be 12 feet. And I was a little worried that it was going to feel like it was sitting in the yard, but there's still plenty of space here for any kind of, I mean, I don't know, family gathering. We don't really gather as a family that often. So I kind of feel like this was just wasted space. And now I'm actually using it. Oh my gosh, my siding is so dirty. Sometimes you don't realize how dirty your siding is until you have people over and you're looking, you're like, oh gosh, I hope they don't notice that dirty siding. Oh, another thing. Actually, 2 people had recommended I get gutters. So that may be a project that you see very soon, because apparently what happens is when the rain comes down and if it splashes up onto the building, it's gonna look nasty, right? You're gonna have dirt marks. So by diverting that water away from the shed, it'll prevent all those backsplashes that'll cause the shed to look real dirty. So gutters, definitely gutters. So another upgrade that I did for all the windows, all 6 of them, was I got window boxes. I love these because they're plastic. I'm not gonna have to worry about them fading, and they're pretty deep. The only thing is, there's water setting in them. How do I get the water out? You can see the water is just sort of collecting in here. So I think once I get some soil and flowers here, it'll be different, but right now there's mosquitoes in there. And if you noticed, there's little kitty cat paws all over here. So some stray has been messing with my flower boxes. I think just coming up here, just sitting and having a good time, I think. Oh, another thing too, this is kind of high. This is about 1 foot off the ground. And these knees don't work as good as when I was younger. So every time I step up, I'm like, oh, don't give out on me, knee. So I will need to build, you know, maybe like a little platform here. And I could actually extend this so that I can put chairs on the front of this. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, let's go inside and see what else we need to cover. Some other questions that people have asked. Here we go. Oh. Okay, so somebody was asking about utilities like water, and am I going to put a bathroom out here? Well, from what I've learned, it's not that difficult to bring water to a shed or some sort of outdoor exterior building. And I was thinking that what would be really cool is to have a sink right here. Just, you know, nothing fancy, maybe just a utility sink. Actually, no, we could actually make it fancy. But maybe like just have a sink here with a cabinet so that when I'm like painting furniture or just whatever it is that I'm doing that I need to wash my hands, clean brushes, I can do it right here. If I wanted to do a bathroom in here, I've been told that's a little bit more difficult because then you have to have a waistline. So you can have a water line coming in pretty easily, but to have a waistline, like you need to have a way to get that out to the waste, like the city waistline. And from what I understand, that's very expensive. I don't know how much. And the one guy, he said they could even have to drill, like go underneath of your house in order to get to the waistline. And I'm like, who wants to do all that for a shed? So the house is literally right there, 20 paces through this window. It's not that far. If I need to use the bathroom, I can go there. And it's not really a big deal. But I think having water out here is going to be a big deal. So I will definitely have a plumber come and probably put a sink here or this window over here. That actually might be better. All right, so let's look for the next question. The next question, someone was saying, why didn't you do a cartwheel? If you remember in my last video, I was saying, there's so much space in here, I can do a cartwheel. So I decided for this video, I will do a cartwheel just for you. Okay, are you ready? Okay. Yeah, I used to cheerlead. 9th grade, that's the only time I did it. All right, you ready? Woo! Oh my gosh, I love it! All right, there you go, guys. I hope you really enjoyed this video. This was fun just to do a follow-up video so you can see everything that I'm doing in this shed. It's gonna take me some time. I was really wanting to get this done so fast so I can get out here and work. But this is the project. So there's things that you're gonna see, the installation, the electrical, the plumbing. Some things I'll be able to do myself, some things I will not do. Oh, I forgot to share with you. the flooring. You'll get to see that too. So stick with me with this series. I'll be able to share everything with you. And if you have any questions, leave it down below in the comments. I'll be sure to answer. And also be sure to follow me on Instagram at Thrift Diving. I share a lot of behind the scenes that you don't get to see on YouTube. And also, I have a podcast. That's right. Every week, every Friday, I publish a new podcast. Whew. I'm out of breath. Let's take a breath. Okay. Every Friday, I publish a podcast, and I'm usually talking about what's going on during the week, giving you some tips, things that I learned along the way, and I think you'll really enjoy it because you can turn it on while you're working, while you're exercising, going for a walk, and you don't actually have to look at the screen. You can just listen. So I'll leave a link down below for that. I will see you guys next video. Thank you for watching, and I will see you next video. Oh gosh, that probably wasn't smart. Come on in. Well, you're on my video.
I ain't going no video.
You're on my video. Oh, no. This is my son, Ohene. Come over here, Ohene. Come.
No video.
I'm recording.
You like that mom from the video trying to force her kids to be in the video. Hey, yo.
The insulation, I'm not sure. I can't remember what the man said. I actually had somebody come and do me, give me a quote to do me. What did I just say? I said I just had a man come to do me. Not like that. I had a man come over from a company to do a quote for insulation. Here come my kids. Hello?
It's time.
Come over and be on camera.
3:30.
Come over and be on camera. Excuse me, that's not what we do. Can you even get up? Can it hold both of our weights? Did.
Steve Urkel did not do that, bro.
No, yes he did.
When did he do that?
He would go like this.
No, he would
Yes, he
not.
did. You never saw Steve Urkel do that.
No, this is completely different, Coach. This is completely different.
Yeah.
That's not from Steve Urkel. What are you talking about?
Then do it. Show me how it's done.
All we talking about. Oh. Man, you not even
Is it a new
bro.
dance?
You know how to do it, bro.
Is it a new dance?
I'm not a new dance.